Hi everyone, this is Natalia on Luxury with Natalia, Yachting International Radio. I'm here with special guest Patrick Coote from coote&co. How are you today?
Very good, thanks for having me on.
Thanks for having me, and I've got a wonderful view in front of me, that's rare.
A special view of the port, yeah.
Exactly, so that's where the magic happens. We're at the heart of Monaco, and yachting of course. And I'm curious to find out what's been happening in the world of Patrick Coote, because we've gone back a few years. I started at Fraser Yachts, goodness, about 2006 or so.
Yeah.
And you were the marketing director there at the time.
Yeah, wow. So 2006 is when I joined, started working with Fraser Yachts as well. I mean, what people don't know much about me is that I was never an employee of Fraser Yachts. I was never an employee of Blohm+Voss, but people often associate me with those companies. In fact, I've had my own consultancy business in Monaco for, what is it now, 13 years. But through very long contracts, firstly with Fraser, secondly with Azimut Benetti, thirdly with Blohm+Voss. Those are the companies that people most associate me with. But yes, interesting and varied background, always in marketing and always in super yachts.
And also I find that you're quite a pioneer when it comes to marketing, and I suppose your experience in various fields, not just yachting as well, have cemented this position of yours that has led the industry into new grounds. And I find that quite amazing that a person like your good self has been able to move with the trends that we've seen perhaps in automotive or luxury overall and implemented that in yachting. So tell us a bit more about these initiatives, and perhaps more easily said than done, but it's the Explorer Yachts Summit one, which happened the first edition this year, 2019, and the next one coming up next year. And also the Superyacht Show. So let's go into those two perhaps.
Yeah. Well, I would clarify one point, which is I don't think I'm leading the industry or leading the market. I'm helping companies within the industry to capitalise on opportunities that are present. I mean, yes, there are some new initiatives that I've started up recently. One was on behalf of Libra, the Large Yacht Brokers Association. They came to me and they said that they felt the need to create a new type of show, a new way to display yachts. Their primary motivation was actually to have control of their shop window, which I think is a very understandable motivation for any business to control how their products and services are presented to the market. And they felt that with the traditional boat show format, they were not in control of that experience. So they came to me a couple of years ago and said, what can we do to create a more appropriate experience for clients who want to look at yachts? What would the perfect day out for a multimillionaire or for a billionaire look like when wanting to buy a 50 million euro super yacht? And we agreed that the traditional understanding of a boat show was probably not the optimum way to present a yacht to that profile of client. So we together came up with something that was, we said from the minute the client lands at the private jet terminal, wherever it might be, to the minute they leave, what should that day look like? What should they experience? What should they see? What should they smell? What should they touch? How should they enjoy it, and how should we approach it? So the Superyacht Show came about as a whole new approach to presenting yachts to clients. Ultimately back to a very, very simple premise or concept, which is client, product, how do you bring the two together? And just to finish off on the show, I mean, yes, we decided that it should be a more calm experience, a more relaxed experience, a more enjoyable experience, a more elegant, a more private experience. Not temporary stands created the week before, not hot dog stalls, or maybe hot dog stalls, but done in a certain kind of way. And certainly not all of the B2B and trade elements that a typical show would have. You've got in the super yacht world, you've got owners and you've got operators. And in the smaller boat world, they're one and the same, because up to 80 foot, you might own and operate your boat. So you can go to an event and you can buy a boat or buy a fire extinguisher or buy some rope or buy a fender. But in the superyacht world, if you are the owner, you're probably not the operator, and your needs are very different. So that's how that show came about.
Okay, and it's also in a fantastic location, unbeknown to maybe many. It's in Barcelona at the Port Monvel.
Yes, Marina Port Vell. This will be our third year in Barcelona in 2020. And we've just announced, also, or Libra have just announced, that we will be running the show in Palm Beach, also in March 2020.
Excellent, so expansion is high.
Yeah, the Barcelona show to date has been a bit of a, I wouldn't say a test, but we've got a proof of concept there. It's gone very well. We're moulding it, shaping it, finding our way on the best formula, and it's still early days, but what it has shown us is that there's strong interest from clients, that you can produce what we think is a better experience at actually not a significantly higher cost to those exhibiting. And it's gone very well so far, proven both in terms of visitor numbers growing and sales being achieved.
Excellent, and I suppose the most important testament of that is the feedback you get from the end client. So you mentioned there that it's been positive and perhaps more and more traction gained, and that's why it's expanding to actually listen to the clients and go out there and do it in other areas that are more comfortable for them to attend. Yeah,
I mean, there are my clients as a consultant who are the members of Libra. And they have their clients who are the buyers and charterers of yachts. And I know that if they're happy because their clients are doing more business with them, then they'll be happy with me in return. So it seems to be working so far.
Excellent. And then also there's the Explorer Yachts Summit, which took place this year, 2019, at the Yacht Club of Monaco. And how has that been for you since its launch, and what was it all about?
The Explorer Yachts Summit came about from my weird habit, and my weird habit is lying in bed with an iPad buying domain names. And I started off, it must have been a couple of years ago, scrolling through what was available, and there was exploreryachts.com, and I thought, well, that's kind of relevant to the way the market's shifting. You know, every new design concept, every article in every yachting magazine is about new places to go, yachts that can take you there. More capable, more robust, longer range vessels, and clients with a much more interested in experience than ownership necessarily. So with the growth in Explorer Yachts, I bought this domain, and then I thought, well, now what the hell am I going to do with it? And seeing this increasing interest in that sector of the industry, I said, well, let's pull together a conference, and together with Jukka Kaukonen from KK Superyachts, we pulled together an agenda and a list of speakers, and the first one was last year, which was sold out. It was a great event, if I'm allowed to say so myself. And we're going again next year in partnership with Boat International. The date is already fixed as the 27th of May at the Yacht Club in Monaco. It's going to be bigger, it's going to be better.
Excellent. Well, congratulations. It's nice to see these things evolve and organically be embraced by the industry. And I know for a fact there were quite a few people who were disappointed they hadn't actually made that decision to come for the first edition, but surely now with the second and probably third.
Well, it was a seed of an idea that came together very quickly, and we did our best. You know, as a marketeer, I did my best to tell people about it. Actually, you know, when you're hosting an event, and I think you know this for having done it yourself, your heart's in your mouth, and when you don't know, you know what your costs are going to be, you don't know what your results are going to be. And it's when you're about 3 weeks out and you haven't got a single delegate registered and you're panicking. But it all worked out in the end. Like I said, we were sold out within a few days of the event being released. We had great interest and great support from Lursen, from Wärtsilä, and from Triton Submarines as sponsors, but great support also from the industry who turned up, whether they're designers or brokers or captains or owners. So the interest is definitely there for this sector.
Amazing. Can't wait to come to the next one.
Yeah. End of May.
End of May. Noted. What Grand Prix weekend?
It's the first Wednesday after the Grand Prix.
Excellent. Okay, good. No clashes. Excellent. And then I wanted to ask you, so coote&co is your marketing agency, and what kind of clients come to you? Who are they?
Over the years I've had 3 different types of clients. They are either what I would call superyacht companies, and by that I mean companies in the superyacht sector who are simply looking to grow their business. A very simple objective, but not always a very simple one to make happen, if that's the right phrase. So whether they want to grow their market share or introduce new products or find new clients or review their position with regard to the competition, to look at their whole brand strategy. That's what I've done predominantly for some of the bigger names that I've worked for and worked with. Secondly is luxury brands who may be very attracted by our sector. Whether it's fixed wing aircraft, rotary helicopters, jewels, high-end supercars. There's a very clear correlation between the profile of the buyers of those high-value items and the ultra-high net worth clients that we have in the superyacht world. So a lot of those companies want to come into the superyacht sector and work with us, but they haven't got the faintest idea how. They don't know where to start, who to talk to, who are the key players. And it can be a very quick way to lose a lot of money or to have a very painful and steep learning curve if you come into the superyacht world with the wrong partners. So I advise and help some of the well-known international luxury brands who want to get it right first time. And thirdly, the group would be owners themselves.
Okay, yes.
After spending some time, best part of 3 or 4 years at Blohm+Voss, there were a couple of owners that said, would I advise them directly on, I guess you call it just holding their hands through the process from design to completion of a new build yacht. I had knowledge of the sector, and I had a fairly decent black book of who to speak to, whether it's a surveyor or a lawyer or a paint specialist or whatever it might be. So I've worked with a number of owners. We've looked at buying yachts, building yachts. I'm definitely not a broker. I'm definitely not a yacht manager. I'm definitely not a technical specialist, nor an admin specialist, nor a legal specialist. But I have helped a few clients steer their way to good people, and to think about their yachts also with the same business head that they approach their own businesses.
Right.
So I try to tell clients, don't think of it as an expensive asset that's just going to cost a fortune, or in fact not even an asset, a liability that's going to cost you a fortune, but may give you a nice lifestyle. I said, think of it as a business. A superyacht is a multi-million-dollar business. It has its staff, it has its turnover, it has its revenue from charters if it's run commercially. There's a lot of parallels you can draw between thinking of a yacht as a business, and if they treat it as such, and it has a marketing strategy, it has a brand, they understand that it has a perception in the marketplace, that it's going to have a residual value, then all these, if you approach these things in a business sense, you can get very pleasant results as an owner.
Amazing, yes, of course. And also seeing that shift towards things that are changing in the industry and what yacht users are looking out for, and that's something which you can answer in that sense, that you've seen a lot of things change in the industry and helping them on their way in terms of all the changes that are implemented. Laws are changing, regulations. It's not the same industry as it was maybe 20, 30 years ago. So with your knowledge, it helps.
I think right across the industry, things are becoming more regulated, but also more professional and better executed. And I would say that's right from the legal side to the operational side to the marketing side.
Yes.
When I first came into this in the mid-90s. Makes me feel very old.
With a new decade coming on as well here in 2020.
You know, a good example, we need to look at how crewing was back then. You walked up on tea with a backpack and just found your way. That's very far removed from the way things are now. And I think in a marketing sense, people were doing the same. You know, marketing, it's been a slow process, but back then marketing was something that you gave to a secretary or to an assistant or to the receptionist, and you said, please make us a flyer or create an ad for us. And marketing was perceived as being marketing communications. In fact, it was perceived as promotion. You know, if you take marketing as a whole, and then you take marketing communications as a piece of that, and then you take promotion as a piece of that, and then you take advertising as a slice of that, you know, marketing has often been perceived as advertising, and therefore, you know, please junior employee, can you make us an advert, and you do that while we do the important sales stuff. And there's been a total lack of understanding generally over the years that marketing is everything. But we have seen a shift to a more professional approach, people in much more senior positions with a marketing background, much more professionally qualified marketeers in the positions of either CMO or COO or CEO. And there's an understanding that marketing is as important as the job of the accountant, if not more so.
Thank God, that's good. It means that things are shaking up, and especially also that things are changing in the way that marketing is being done, and you have to be on the ball with that. So if we're comparing with luxury and industries like aviation, or perhaps not, the automotive and jewellery, you can see that there are shifts in how they're doing things, and yachting is catching up very nicely on that. And also we're seeing people from those worlds and industries coming into yachting to help with the way that things should be done or can be done.
Yeah, we've got a lot to learn. You know, yachting is still a very small sector. When you compare it to automotive or even aviation, we are still tiny when you compare the values of those sectors. So the budgets and the volume of business being done in those sectors is far in excess of what we are used to. And I think the benefit to us from that is that we can learn a huge amount. We can look to automotive, we can look to jets, helicopters or whoever, and take cues about the way they reach clients, the way they market to clients, the way they present their products and services, and we can adopt that and back into our own industry, which is fantastic. I think it's more about us looking to them than them looking to us, because I don't think they're on the whole hugely impressed with what we do as an industry. But that's okay. We can look and learn and move forward.
And move forward for sure. And so coming back onto the theme of luxury, the show is Luxury with Natalia, and I ask all my guests what their own definition of luxury is. So you being an expert in the field, I'm keen to hear what your definition might be.
I think it's easiest to answer that question by saying what I think it's not. And what I think it's not is the still perpetuated vision that it's a lady in a red cocktail dress holding a glass of champagne with a man in a blazer staring out to sea. And it's amazing how that is still used and perceived as the right way to present luxury to potential clients. You know, I will never forget sitting with a double-digit billionaire who was in his 30s in Converse and a hooded top. And that whole concept of obvious champagne diamond luxury could not have been further removed from who he was, what he was about, how to speak to him, how to engage with him. And so companies in the industry that still work with that idea of luxury as we've done, you know, the whole sort of the leopard skin thing, or the rarefied jewels and all the rest of it. You know, yes, there is an appreciation of rarity, but rarity doesn't have to mean a particular kind of gemstone or a particular kind of champagne. Rarity can be having time. I think time and experience are now far more valuable to people than if I look to myself, and I'm definitely not an ultra high net worth person, but my idea of luxury is actually something that's away from the norm. My wife and I are slightly different on this, but to me, every day is luxury. And by that I mean I have warmth, I have light, I have heating, I have clothes, I'm not in a war zone, I have a car, I'm safe, and everything is relatively easy. There's food in the supermarket, food in the fridge, and life is good. And I think that counts for many of us. So when life is that simple and that easy, for me, luxury is to get away from the norm and to go and sit on a sun lounger, which is a lot of people's idea of a luxury weekend, sitting on a sun lounger with a glass of champagne, holds no interest for me whatsoever. My idea of luxury is different from the norm. It's getting muddy, it's being cold, it's hunting for my food, it's something that's different from the day to day. So we're all different in our view of luxury, but I think we should be united as marketeers in understanding that it's different for everyone, and bringing the luxury discussion and the marketing discussion sort of together. I think people need to go back to understanding that marketing is actually a very, very simple concept. It's about either a product or a service of a client, and how do you bring those together profitably. That's all it is. People try and make it complicated and come up with all sorts of weird, clever formulae about how to do better marketing. But if you understand the person's perception of what luxury is, you package it in an attractive way, and you bring it together in a price and through a channel that makes sense and makes profit, then you've done your job as a marketeer in the luxury world.
In the luxury world, fantastic. Love this answer, and it's so nice to catch up with you, Patrick, and I'm very excited to see what next for you and also for your company and for the clients that you're working with. So it's all evolving, it's all changing, and it's an amazing industry to be in, because there are so many opportunities to be seen and had and to develop on. So best of luck with everything.
Thank you for having me on. It's a super industry, and it's one not only full of opportunity but full of potential. We can all do more and do better, and 2020 is going to be a busy year.
New decade, new opportunities, amazing. So keep tuned in, everyone, on Yachting International Radio, Luxury with Natalia. More episodes and exciting episodes for the new year coming up. Happy Christmas and New Year.
Thanks. All right.
See you soon.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
Thank you.